Dr.
I
Niki
know.
Davis, all the way from the TrueNorth Health Center, is in the house. Once I see that people are live, I'll start saying something meaningful. It says it's now custom streaming. Anybody there? Hello, hello, hello. Hey, it says on my phone I'm live. There's got to be somebody there. Okay. It's weird because a lot of times you don't see anything and then there's like a million people. Wait, I'm seeing numbers. Hey, somebody type something in the chat, will you? Just so we know you can see and hear us. There we go. I think it's just a little bit of a delay. Hi, April, Jennifer, Sherry, Victoria, and Lorna. Okay, terrific. And Sandra Cox, a Texas hottie. All right. So how was work today at the TrueNorth Health Center?
It was fun.
That's amazing.
Yes. Well, I should ask you first, though. How was your day? Because isn't it your birthday today?
Yeah, it's my 60th birthday, hence this wonderful shirt I'm wearing. I mean, it's as good as a birthday can be when you're on lockdown, you know?
Did you get that shirt made special, or was
I
that
did. It was
something-
made by a very talented vegan graphic designer who's the author of a wonderful cookbook called The Potato Reset. Her name is Janine Elder, and she made it for me. And it's actually in my store now if anybody else wants to buy it. I put this is what 60s look like, so I would be able to wear it like for the next nine or 10 years.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, isn't it cute? She makes a lot of really cute shirts, a lot of them with things like potatoes on them and very, very cute stuff. So
I assume you can. Oh, I assume that you can change it to different decades.
Yeah, so I'll make one when I'm in my 70s, when my 80s, hopefully when I'm in my 90s too. You never know.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't have longevity in my family, so you know.
Really?
No, I really don't. My husband does. His parents, both of them, lived till almost 100. Mine,
Wow.
yeah. Yep,
Well,
didn't have such good genes. That's why it was so important for me to eat this way, because I didn't want to go down the same path as, you know, the people in my family. So.
Yep. Well, my dad's going to be 90 this year.
That's great.
If you can believe it. Yeah.
Does your dad eat healthy? Are you going to convince him to eat healthy?
He definitely eats healthier now. He's one of the only family members that I haven't gotten to switch over completely, but he's much better than he was. He actually had a heart attack about 30 years ago. And so the fact that he's still here 30 years later is pretty amazing.
Wow. Well, you'd think if his daughter's a doctor, he'd listen to you. Hey, Tom and Tammy are in the house. I just watched them and they just watched us.
Awesome.
Yeah. So what did they serve tonight for dinner at TrueNorth?
Can I show you?
Yeah, we would love to see it. Are you kidding?
I brought my plate. I'm going to wait to eat it. So I want to show you.
I'd love to see it.
The food is so good here. All right, let's see. I'm going to try to do this.
Oh, wait. There's something. Is that like a quesadilla almost? Something.
So no. So it's okay. So sweet potatoes, which are my favorite. And there's a salad, and we've got some steamed, I think it's chard, and then some Brussels sprouts.
What is the thing that looks almost like flour, like a tortilla?
This here.
Mm-hmm.
Those are sweet potatoes. So we got the white and the, and then the orange color sweet potatoes.
Yeah, those are my favorite. Isn't it great when you work there, you get to eat for free?
Yes. I don't want to go back home where I have to make my own stuff.
So how do you, I mean, if you're a doctor, you're obviously, I mean, everybody's busy, but I mean, do you have time to cook for yourself? Do you batch cook? What do you eat on a given day, and how do you feed your kid?
So depending on the week, if I'm super busy, I mean, I eat a lot of potatoes.
Me too.
Yeah. So I will just kind of batch cook a bunch of potatoes and sweet potatoes, and then just have those ready so that I can just grab them and bring them with me. And I also, if I don't have time to prepare, have you seen the little red potato pocket that you can put in the microwave?
You bet. I got a bunch of them at Walmart.
Yeah. So I just I just grab a couple of potatoes in the morning and throw them in the little pocket, and then bring that with me to work. And sometimes, that's what I have. But a lot of times, we'll do, oh gosh, I mean, breakfast is, we do a lot of oatmeal. And then, yeah, I would say that for the most part, I'm eating a lot of potatoes and greens and things like that. We love broccoli. In fact, I forgot to mention this. So I have a 7-year-old and he's been vegan since birth, and he also loves potatoes and broccoli. And a couple of months ago, I was making some brown rice with, so we do brown rice and broccoli a lot too. And we didn't have any broccoli. So we just did brown rice with some tofu for him. And he cried because there was no broccoli.
Oh, that is so cute. I just
He
love
was so
hearing,
sad.
I love hearing that kids really can eat healthy. You know, so many parents say, oh, my kid is a picky eater. They're a picky eater because you gave them crap.
Right. That's what they expect. That's what they want, and it's really up to you to just put that in front of their face. They're not going to starve, they're not going to not eat. They're going to be hungry enough to eat. And so you just got to put something in front of them that's healthy.
It's just, I just love hearing this. And I love hearing a doctor that eats potatoes and isn't afraid to microwave them. People are so afraid of potatoes still. It doesn't matter.
I know. Yeah, it's really frustrating, especially because, I'm trying to teach, some of my fellow residents about, because what I hear a lot being taught to patients is, especially people who have diabetes, you got to watch the carbs, no baked potatoes and things like that. And I keep trying to tell them it's not the potatoes, just don't put the butter and the sour cream on those. And, it can be very healthy for you for diabetes. So I'm trying, we're getting there, but yeah, people are really afraid of potatoes. And it's, I was going to say, Chef AJ, have you been to the Idaho Potato Museum?
No, but I bet I would love it. I bet it would be, I love potatoes so much.
You would love this place. It's like a potato lover's dream.
Well, you know what? It's so funny because obviously I have to do something for my 60th birthday someday when that would be a fun thing to do, I think.
Yeah.
Because our 25th wedding anniversary is coming up, and that sounds like a fun and unique thing that I would really like to do.
Yeah, it's a great museum all about the history of potatoes. They give you a baked potato at the end. They also give you some freeze-dried hash browns. I don't know if you've tried those before. They come in a little box, and it's just hash browns that have been dehydrated, and you just pour hot water into this little, it's like those what used to have, like, when we were kids, the little milk carton. It kind of looks like a little milk carton, but it's got the hash browns, and you pour the water in, and it's, soaks up all the water and gets huge. And then you just stick it in your pan and you fry up, not fry with oil, but you cook up some hash browns. And it's what we use it for is we take that camping, because then it's a dry thing that you can bring with you, and you can make hash browns for breakfast. And I forgot to say, that's what we eat most of the time for breakfast.
Well, that sounds amazing, especially now when people are hoarding and worried that they can't find fresh stuff. I've never even heard of freeze-dried hash browns. I'm going to look for them. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, and they were kind of hard to find. They give you a free one when you go to the Idaho Potato Museum, and I lucked out and found that they sell the big packages of them at Costco. So,
oh my God, I'm going to have to, well, right now, Costco is tough, but now that I'm 60, yeah. I can get in. They have to let me in. Hey, thank you all for your great birthday wishes. Karen says, my tagline has always been, I never met a potato that I didn't like. Me neither, I get so frustrated because people they did not get fat eating potatoes. So why are they so afraid to eat potato? It would be different if that's how they got fat.
Right.
And then there's like, oh, I can't eat carbs, but that's not how. And yet they're still afraid. I don't understand the brainwashing that's gone on. And the same thing with grains,
Yeah, just carbohydrates in general. This is a macronutrient that we need, and somehow people are so worried about getting too many carbs, and it's just gotten out of control. And people are so worried about getting protein. That's what they're worried about is, how many grams of protein they're going to get every day. And it's just kind of, it's flip-flopped.
I just got, I teach this online class called Lose Weight with a Full Plate, and they can ask me questions. I go live like this, but just to the group. And a question just came in. It's like, well, now that I'm eating vegetables and starch for breakfast, I'm worried, where am I going to get my protein? And it's like,
Yeah. Yep. All plants, all living things, in fact, have protein. All living things. So any plant you're going to eat is going to have protein. So don't worry about the protein.
It is so frustrating. But even when a doctor, I don't know, it's just, I just get
I know,
frustrated because I've been,
but
I've been doing this for 43. I haven't been doing teaching for 43 years, but I've been vegan for 43 years. And that's, if I had a dollar for everybody that said, where are you going to get your protein? I'd be so rich right now.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's the first question most people ask for sure.
Oh my God.
So we got people.
What was your favorite course in medical school?
Oh, in medical school, the one that comes to mind, when we were learning about the GI tract and the microbiome and how it's affected by the way we eat, that was fascinating to me. And we talked about that a little bit last night, but, just the fact that the bacteria that is present in your gut can be affected, and you have different types of bacteria living in your gut depending on what you eat. I just thought that was fascinating. So that was a really cool course that I had. I wish I would have had more nutrition, but
how much nutrition did they actually teach in medical school?
not very much. In fact, I want to say that the last time I looked, the average was about 8 hours, something like that. About 8 hours total for 4 years, which to me does not seem like enough.
Right. And then isn't it true that what you learned in nutrition isn't on the boards anyway? So it's not like you even had to memorize it or remember it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we do have questions that ask what you should do first. If somebody comes in and they have pre-diabetes or something like that. And of course, you should always offer lifestyle change, diet change, but it never really says what people should eat. It's just healthy diet. And I would say that a lot of physicians don't know what that is, because a lot of the physicians have the same diseases that their patients have.
Yeah. And they're on the same medications.
Right. Exactly.
That is just so crazy. So it's, both my brothers are doctors. I never really asked them much about medical school, but you have to kind of do everything till you decide what you want to do, right? Like you have to deliver a baby. You have to do it all. Like even if you're going to be a psychiatrist, you still have to do every single type of medicine, right?
Yeah. So, your first 2 years of medical school is book work and learning all the background and the cell biology and all of that kind of stuff. And then in your third year is when you get to go onto the floor and actually work with all sorts of different types of doctors. And so yeah, you do everything. Yep.
Did you ever watch that TV show Scrubs? I used to love that
yeah
show.
Yeah.
Are the doctors that mean?
I've been lucky. Very few times have I had, really cruel doctors that I've worked with. For the most part, I've gotten to work with a lot of really nice people, especially throughout residency. Been really lucky. In Billings, we've got really great doctors where I'm at.
Yeah. When they do these surgeries that are really, really long, I always wonder, how do they go to the bathroom? Do they just not go to the bathroom?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just got to, that's like, you're a good surgeon if you remember to go before you get in there.
I just, and I mean, and they don't get to eat. They can't do anything, right?
Right.
Can't they take a break? Like, can they tag somebody and then go pee and then they can't, it's like,
I suppose they could, but it's this whole process of getting scrubbed in and scrubbed out. So it takes some time, but I haven't been in really, really long ones, but I would assume that, at some point you probably do have to take a break and go back in. Wow. And, what's funny is I definitely am not a surgeon. I do not like surgery. And whenever I go into the OR after a couple of hours, I'm getting flushed and lightheaded and I just can't be in there for too long. So I'll be glad when I don't have to do that anymore and can just focus on nutrition.
Yeah, I just can't imagine anybody really liking it. In my 20s, I was a respiratory therapist, and as part of the training, we had to be in the OR for open heart surgery. And that was a lot to take, because when they burned the chest, it smelled like a human barbecue,
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it just took everything to just not like vomit. God bless the people that do it. just like you, it's just do it.
Yep.
Yeah. So, oh wow, we have some questions today for
Oh,
you.
good.
Well, this one I can answer, but I'll let the doctor answer it. Robin says, "Is ketchup okay to put on potatoes?"
Yes. Yeah. Um, here at True North, they talk about trying to stay sugar and salt free. So if you can find one or make one, that is without sugar and things like that, then yeah.
There's in my book, there's 2 sugar-free ketchup recipes,
Yep.
And you know what I do is we have both Ethel and Thomas from California Balsamic watching. And I don't know if have you tried their vinegars? We got to get you.
So I am going to get some because I want to try the teriyaki one and
Uh-huh.
I want to try that garlic one because I've heard that both of those are really good. And so I'm absolutely going to have
Well,
those
we're gonna
waiting for me when I get home.
Ethel and Thomas, we got to get her some samples, okay? Because she can then tell her patients about this. Those are 2 of my favorite flavors. Also, curry is one. But what I take is I'll take some of their California balsamic, like for example, the hickory smoke, and I'll just mix it with barbecue sauce. Excuse me, not barbecue sauce, with just plain tomato paste. And then I have barbecue sauce without sugar,
Wow.
oil, or salt. So it's really good. You can buy ketchup without sugar at Whole Foods and Sprouts. But not without salt. But it's really easy to make your own, Robin. Very easy. Yeah. Shannon says, what do you think of digestive enzymes? I think I have a hard time digesting all this fiber, even after 3 years of whole food plant-based.
Yeah, it's funny. I've heard some of the naturopathic doctors talking about using digestive enzymes here when people have had some issues. So I know there's definitely a place for it. It's not something that as a medical doctor we typically prescribe. So I don't have a lot of input, but it is something that I've heard them using here at True North.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, here's the chat. That's why I didn't see it. It moved over. So yeah, this is interesting because when people come to me that have had gastric bypass, I have a hard time helping them because I promote like the way they eat at True North, huge voluminous meals, low in calorie density. And when their stomach has been artificially, reduced to that size, I don't know how to tell them to eat. But Lauren is saying she had gastric bypass surgery in 2005, then small revision with hiatal hernia fixed in 2019. I can have up to 6 meals per day from a half to 1/2 cup at a time. Any ideas to keep it balanced throughout the day? I don't know how to teach people because we eat so differently when we when we have the full capacity of the stomach, because I literally eat 7 to 10 pounds of food a day. She's eating not even that many in cups. And so how do you help people to get enough nutrition still following these principles, especially if they're trying to lose weight?
Yeah, I feel like, it's a matter of, because you have a smaller stomach, having smaller meals much more frequently. That's really, the best thing. I mean, I eat 3 meals a day with a normal stomach. And so if you've got a reduced stomach, you're just going to have to increase, or decrease the amount of time between each meal so that you get the same calories in, the same volume in, but you're just going to have to eat smaller meals.
Yeah. And maybe eat, and not maybe fill it with all the greens like we do.
Yeah.
Then, because then that's 100 calories and that's not going to be enough. Maybe
more starchy,
right? More beans,
eat more
maybe,
starches.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. That's tough.
Yeah, you can get really filled up with sweet potatoes and potatoes.
If I had to pick one starch, it would be the white ones too. The ones you had on your plate.
Yes,
those are my
I know. They're so good.
Here it is my birthday and I could eat anything I wanted. And that's just what I wanted was the same thing I eat every day. Hand and yams and broccoli.
That's great. And then I saw that you made some sort of a nice
yes,
cream?
I literally put it on YouTube just a couple of minutes before we went live, and it's mint chocolate chip ice cream. It's not super sweet. If people are expecting it to be, 31 flavors, you could make it really sweet if you put some dates in it. But when you haven't eaten sugar in a long time, the sickly sweet things of the past are not as appealing, but it is very, very good. And it tastes just like mint ice cream. It's very refreshing.
Yum. I'll have to try that.
I love mint. So Carol says, in regards to diabetes, if it's not the potatoes and starch to avoid, what is it? The fats, meat, where does sugar come in?
Yeah. So when I talk to my patients about it, I talk to them about fat. So we know that we have fat in our muscle cells and that fat kind of gums up your cells. And why this matters is You've got your insulin, which I think of as the key that unlocks your cells to allow glucose in. So when you eat a meal and you have glucose going through your glucose wants to get into your cells to help make energy for your body. So your pancreas secretes insulin, and that insulin is supposed to be kind of a key that opens up the cell and allows glucose to go in. However, when you've got a lot of fat, not only circulating in your bloodstream, but also inside of your cells, it gums up the lock and it does not allow glucose to get into the cells. So then it just stays high in the bloodstream, which is, to me, one of the major causes of diabetes. So I would say low fat. That's what I tell my patients, low fat, in addition to the whole food plant-based, but low fat for sure.
Wow, that's great. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's right. Dylan has ketchup too. I forgot that Well Your World also makes an SOS free ketchup. Of course, thank you. Thanks for ordering my book. You guys, if you asked a question, the chat box crashed and I had to reload it. So if you asked questions, Judy says there were 2 important questions from Kathy and Carol. So you'll have to ask them again. Oh, Annie says, I had to be on antibiotics for a gum infection. What is the best to eat during dealing with antibiotics?
Well, so, when you have to take antibiotics, it's unfortunate because, we wish that antibiotics could just kill the bad bacteria that's causing the infection, but unfortunately it kills all the bacteria. So, I do tell people to take a probiotic while they're taking antibiotics to kind of help with that. But then the other thing is just to be eating a really healthy diet when you're taking that to help your gut flora kind of replenish.
So when you said that your favorite class in medical school was learning about the microbiome, like, can you see a microbiome? I mean, it's like, did you look at it under the microscope? What did you do?
No, we didn't. They didn't have anything like that. But just learning about the ideas of, just how it can change and how impressive it is. I mean, I think we have like 5 pounds of bacteria in our bodies, something like that on average. So it's just amazing that we have all these creatures living inside of us, dependent on us, and we're dependent on them.
That's kind of creepy. They should do a movie about it, like they did that Fantastic Voyage movie where Raquel Welch shrunk down and they went inside a human body. That would be a good one.
That would be cool.
Yep.
Have you heard what Dr. Goldhammer says about the microbiome?
Must be funny.
Well, he just says that, just think about all these tiny little creatures inside you eating and pooping all the time.
Oh my God, that is crazy.
But it's true. Yeah, it's weird.
Annie says, thank you for answering the question. That's what she's been doing. Kathy says, if you have stage 3 kidney failure and type 2 diabetes, are potatoes okay to eat?
Yes. Yep. Of course, you want to talk to your doctor, but, I fully think, I fully believe that if you're doing low fat, whole food, plant-based, that absolutely you should include potatoes. It's the thing that keeps you full. It's the thing that keeps you satiated. It's, comfort food. I mean, you think about mashed potatoes, it's just, you salivate and you think about that, and this is good food.
And if you're worried about white potatoes, not that you need to be, eat sweet potatoes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they're actually just as delicious, if not more so. Carol says, is it just animal fat or is it plant-based fat as well?
So I would say, you do need fat. Okay. So you don't just want to have 0 fat, but all plants, you get some level of fat in plants. So it's just a matter of keeping the fat content down. So definitely animal fat is a no-go. And any sort of oil, which is just a processed fat from plants, is a no-go. So, and really it kind of depends on what your goals are. If you're trying to lose weight, for some people doing avocados and nuts that are a little bit more high in fat is not something that they can do. And so you just kind of have to decide what you're looking for with that.
Nice. So the California balsamic people are asking for your address. Now, you're not going to give it here because they're going to send you some samples. And Robin says, is there a California balsamic that tastes like coconut aminos? So not exactly, Robin, because they don't use salt, but the teriyaki If you're trying to do it for like an Asian, or the Gilroy garlic, I would say would be the closest to that. Now, those are flavors you might want to try. Christina says, potatoes make me happy. I saw a question here. I actually know somebody that reversed stage 4 kidney disease going on this way of eating. So I've seen people reverse, not stage 5, but stage 4. I've actually known somebody personally that was able to reverse it eating this way. Sherry says, as a diabetic, I've seen that by lessening the fat, it worked wonders for her insulin resistance. So
Yay.
isn't that great? Yeah. So Becky says, I asked you the other night if this way of eating helps your anxiety, and I know you said it does. I'm wondering if the doctor or you know of specific foods to increase in your diet to help reduce anxiety. I'm not overweight at all, and I've been vegan for years, but I still don't eat the healthiest. I have struggled with anxiety and depression for my entire life, and I'm thinking some of it can be diet related. I know I should cut out the caffeine for sure. Absolutely. I think caffeine and alcohol are 2 of the worst substances in general, and specifically for people with anxiety. I mean, if you're having caffeine for an anxious person, you're just throwing fuel on the fire.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think, that would be step number 1, is to get rid of those. And in fact, I'm just going to admit something here. So I had been drinking coffee before I came to TrueNorth, and stopped cold turkey when I got here. And I, had a headache for a couple of days. And the thing that really surprised me, so I've never struggled with depression or anxiety, but I started having some symptoms similar to depression. And I was describing it to my husband, and he said, Niki, that really sounds like depression. And I was like, oh yeah, actually it does. And luckily I came out of it. But it really kind of showed me the power of, being addicted to these stimulants. And so that would be the first thing that I would do is do that. And then as far as specific foods, I've got, so the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, so I think it's pcrm.org. They've got some really great information on there regarding food and mood. And I believe, so they have handouts and things like that regarding specific foods. And then I'm sure Dr. Greger also has covered this. So those would be the 2 places that I would look if you're looking at specific foods.
Yeah, great. Something's wrong with my chat. If I type, it reloads and I don't want to miss the comments, but pcrm.org, like Dr. Davis said, and nutritionfacts.org. But I think definitely you don't want to be having processed food like sugar if you're having anxiety. And the best thing, in my opinion, for anxiety and depression is exercise. So I would ask, how much of that are you doing every day?
Yeah, for sure. And I've been lucky being here, so Montana, it's, still snowy there, but here in California, it's been a little rainy, but sunny too. So I've been out doing lots of walks, and AJ, I got on an electric bike yesterday and rode out to Sebastopol. And have you ever been on an electric bike before?
No, I haven't. What are they like?
So it's a regular bike, but they have a little battery on it so that if you're going up a hill, you can get some assistance so that, you can ride longer and go up more hills and things like that. And it was a lot of fun. It was a blast.
That does sound like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So before the chat box crashed, I saw a question from Roz, something about hypothyroid or thyroid and iodine, because I guess, if you're following, oh, here it is. Thoughts on using iodized salt as a source of iodine for someone who is hypothyroid. I just take sea vegetables for my iodine.
Yeah, I have heard of people doing, both. So, but as far as specifically recommending one or the other, I don't really have any recommendations either way.
Goldhammer would say no salt.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. The statement on my t-shirt is, this is what 60s look like if you're vegan. And I saw questions somewhere.
I know, I wish I had one of my vegan shirts I could wear.
Oh, yeah,
but I'm not home.
Oh, so Robin wanted to know what the best way to ease out of coffee is. Chicory good, and what else could she drink in the morning? I drink pot liquor in the morning. That's basically the broth from my husband's steamed vegetables, his steamed greens. It's really good, actually.
Yeah, in fact, I've been wanting to try that because I saw one of your videos where you were making it. But good. yeah,
I don't know why it's good. It's just warm and comforting. What are sea vegetables? Sea vegetables are from the ocean, so they're very, very naturally salty and higher in sodium, and they're like kelp. Like if you ever had sushi, what it's wrapped in nori, that's a sea vegetable. Kelp is a sea vegetable, dulse, wakame, aramay. And so they're very, very salty, and they taste very fishy too. So Abri says, when are you moving back to Salt Lake City? I'm in the area looking for a plant-based doctor. Can you get an allergy from not eating something for a long time and then starting to eat it again, like beans and nuts?
So we are moving back to Salt Lake City in July of this year, but I'm not going to be working at, a clinic. So I'm going to be kind of doing my own thing, doing 10-day live-in programs likely. Do probably some more public speaking and things like that. So I won't be really available for that kind of thing, but I do know some plant-based physicians in the Salt Lake area. And if you go to the plantbaseddoctors.org, and there's quite a few of them there. And then as far as the allergies, yeah, you can, unfortunately, you can develop allergies at any time, really. So, we think that, what happens is that you'll have an illness or some sort of an assault and your body reacts to it, but it can accidentally react to something that's safe. So something like nuts, and then create antibodies against it.
That's interesting. Are you by any chance going to the plant-based nutrition conference in September in the Palm Springs area?
Well, I saw that was there, and I was, considering it. So that would be a lot of fun to go there.
Maybe you can ask him to speak. He never has enough women, in my opinion.
Well, so this is the international, it's like the international.
It's called the Plantrition Conference, and it's going to be at the Marriott in Palm Springs. I think it's like September 11th through 16th, something like that.
Yeah, I think that I messaged them about that, and they said that they were full of speakers this year, but to send them kind of a demo or something like that. So I might hit them up again and see if they've gotten any cancellations with everything going on.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be good. I mean, I know
but I would love it.
Yeah, I mean, I know Dr. Stoll personally, but that doesn't get me in as a speaker. So, very nice, and it's a very, very good conference. Yep. What to do for dressing if your stomach is sensitive to vinegar and citrus?
Well, AJ, what do you do for that?
Well, I'm not sensitive to that, thank goodness. If I could have vinegar, boy, that'd be hard for me. So
and citrus too.
So what? Maybe hummus. Maybe hummus as a dressing. I mean, of course, there is a small amount usually of lemon juice in hummus. What could you?
What about like salsa?
Yeah, salsa is delicious. Yes, all kinds of salsas. There's green salsa and red salsa. Yeah, salsas actually are very delicious on salads. As you could just go to gallo.
And I love salsa on lots of things, just salsa, like fresh pico de gallo on a potato or, on salad.
Fruit salad dressings too. I mean, fruit ones that are based on fruit. It's very hard when you can't, I mean, I know when you can't have any acid at all, because that's really what a salad dressing is acid plus something else, acid plus food, acid plus oil. But, I wonder if, going to like a place like TrueNorth and fasting, you could find out why your stomach is sensitive to these things,
That's true. Maybe do a reset and see if that helps. Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, that's too bad. And is it sensitive to all citrus? I mean, if it's sensitive to lemon, maybe you could have an orange or because there's more than one kind of citrus. That is very rough. Like when people have these certain food restrictions, that it's just really hard sometimes for me to help them because they're just, I mean, it's not impossible, but like you said, you could be, well, I wonder if she considers tomato citrus, but you could make, I could think you could make dressings out of beets, blending roasted vegetables. What else could I do?
Yeah, it could be more of a savory dressing with, using vegetable broth and doing roasted, you could do like roasted tomatoes and onions and peppers and then just blend it up with some
I find that if I put like some kind of wet fruit on my salad, like pineapple or mango or sliced grapes, I almost don't even need dressing sometimes. So yeah. Let's see. What is the best company for the electric bike?
Oh, well, I mean, the one here in Santa Rosa, it's the only one, but it's called Pedego, Pedego. And they just opened up in November here. And it was walkable from TrueNorth. So it was perfect for me to be able to go over there and do that.
It's nice because the YMCA is walkable from TrueNorth and they let you go for $5 a day.
Yeah, unfortunately they're closed right now.
Yeah, every gym is closed. You know, it's really fun, but and it'd be really fun if you had your son with you, but it's probably close too, is the Charles Schultz Museum in Santa Rosa.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that that would be a fun thing to bring my son to. I wasn't sure if it would be something that I should just go and do on my own while I'm here or wait till I come back with him.
It's very
So I'm sure
cute.
I'll
I
be
mean,
back.
especially if you grew up on Peanuts and Snoopy, it's cute, you know.
Yeah, and I did. Yeah.
It's very, very nice. You guys have any more questions for Dr. Niki Davis from the TrueNorth Health Center live, in case you came late? If you know, a couple of you that asked questions, I'm sorry that the chat, I had to reload it, so I missed them. But if you're still here, please ask again.
And say hi if you're listening in from True North Health.
Oh yeah, nice. That's very nice. You know, yes, last night you talked about Dr. Davis's son, who's been vegan his whole life. What is his favorite food?
Well, so I did ask him this the other day and he said tofu.
Ah, nice.
But I would say he really likes broccoli. We talked about that already. And he loves potatoes too. So he's after my own heart.
Yeah, but where does he get his protein? I'm so worried. So worried.
He also he does pasta too. We'll make some, whole wheat pasta with some kind of cheesy sauce that we make with potatoes and carrots. He really likes that too.
That's neat. I've only known a few kids that have been vegan from birth, and they just turned out to be such extraordinary adults. Like, they're not anxious, they're kind, and I don't know, it was amazing.
Yeah. Well, I'm biased, but we've got a great kid.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's so cool. So these 10-day programs, are you going to, how are you going to find the people? Like, are they going to be local, or because you're going to have to get like a website? We're going to have to tell people.
I do have a website.
You never told me. What is it? I'll see if the chat works. What is your website?
DrDrNikiDavis.com.
NikiDavis.com. Let's see. Oh, the chat's not working. Somebody else type that in, drnikidavis.com. Man, there's a lot of plant-based doctors or with name Davis. I mean, there's Garth Davis, there's Brenda Davis. She's not a doctor, but and there's Dr. Niki Davis. That must be a common doctor name,
Yeah.
Karen says, do they take blood sugar numbers every day at True North, and is it important?
So they definitely will check it when you first get here. And if you have any issues with your blood sugar that either you weren't aware of or that you are aware of, like diabetes or prediabetes, then they will tend to check it more regularly. So some people here will have it checked daily and some people twice a day. So it just kind of depends on, what your history is, your medical history.
That's neat. Kathy's saying there's a couple of electric bike shops in La Jolla. No tax for out-of-state sales. That's one thing today, because there's not much you can do with this sheltering. So I see people riding their bicycles, because I think you're allowed to do that because you can stay a safe distance. And I really want a bicycle now. I have a spin bike that doesn't really go anywhere.
Yeah, I think it's a great option when you're having to shelter in place because they've said you can go out on walks and hikes and bikes, you just don't want to be going with a big group of people that you don't know.
Right.
So they do say that if you're going with someone who doesn't live in your home, you got to stay 6 feet away from them. So.
Right. But is 6 feet enough? Shouldn't it be 10 feet? I mean, how far, how far do these germs travel?
Yeah, sure. It depends on the wind and it depends on if somebody's coughing straight at you, I think it's just a general, who knows?
So Dr. Goldhammer doesn't seem too worried, but then again, I never see him really with any expression, so it's hard to know.
Yeah. But we've been practicing social distancing here, we're not doing the lectures in the hall anymore, in the dining hall, everything's pretty much online. If we do have a lecture where people are showing up, everybody sits in different sections of the room, so far enough away from each other. So we're definitely doing that here. It makes it a little bit more lonely because we're so used to having this nice community of people that we can chat with. But
are you doing lectures like online for people while they're there, or?
Yeah. So, when I first got here, we were still doing lectures in the dining hall, and they do them at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. every day. And that was a lot of fun. So that's when I got to see, Dr. Lyle came, and Dr. Lim, and Kathy Fisher, and Katie May. But now with everything going on with the virus, a lot of these classes are now being switched to where it's a Zoom meeting. So you can just log in from your room and get to watch the same presenter, but just, being socially distanced.
That's a good idea. And when I first met Dr. Goldhammer like 11 or 10 years ago, I said he should be doing this anyway, because sometimes fasters are so sick and weak, they really can't even get out of bed, and they miss all the wonderful presentations.
Yeah, I totally agree. And so maybe this will be a good opportunity to get this kind of in place, and then maybe they'll start doing that. Because I agree, there's a lot of fasters here who don't get to go to these lectures, and because they're supposed to kind of take it easy and sleep and not exert too much energy.
Yeah. Patty's saying, can anyone go to the classes? I think you have to be a patient, don't you?
Yeah, except for this one. So when I knew that we were going to be talking, I did put this one on our board so that the patients here could watch it. And same thing, actually, Ramses Bravo did one on his Facebook page. So as long as you were on his page, you could watch his. So some of them are available, so it just depends on if you happen to catch, when somebody's going to be doing one.
That's really nice. Yeah. That would be fun. I mean, I think that Dr. Goldhammer should just even have a subscription TV for people that are not even at TrueNorth to watch those lectures. I would pay to do that every month.
Right.
I mean,
I agree.
I would pay money to see Dr. Lyle give his lecture and Dr. Goldhammer to give his lecture every week. I would pay a subscription for that. I really, truly would.
Yep. I completely agree. I mean, these are amazing people that, it's a shame that, you only have 15 or 20 people here watching them, when you really, you could be spreading that out.
We should have hundreds. Joanne commented that, no, not Joanne, Sherry says that Dr. Lyle put a video out yesterday on his thoughts on the virus, and it was very good. I didn't watch the whole thing, but he was looking at more like statistically about, and like he was, I believe, a statistics professor. And so it was really like more optimistic, it wasn't doomsday kind of thing.
Oh, good.
Oh, Sherry says, my husband and I have reservations at TrueNorth next month. Hope we can get there in a few weeks. Thanks for telling us how it's working out right now. Did Dr. Davis state she established a 10-day program after she moves to Salt Lake? I don't think Gunther, it's quite in place yet. Like, you don't know where it is or when it is yet, right?
Right. We don't know where it is or when it is, but we're looking at different locations. And my hope is that, once I get it kind of in place as to exactly how it's going to run, that this is something that I could do in different locations. So I'm not planning on, opening up my own brick and mortar, but rather renting out retreat-like locations to bring people.
God, that'd be fun. Hawaii.
Yeah. Right.
Wendy says, if one has corona, what are the most healing foods? I've heard Dr. Furman recommend raw foods or to skip a meal or two to strengthen immune system. What would you recommend? That's interesting about skipping the meal to strengthen immune system, because I've also heard people say that fasting can weaken the immune system and that it's not really a good idea to fast as virus protection. So what are your thoughts on that, Dr. Davis?
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't do anything different from what I'm doing, which is, just eating whole food, plant-based, healthy foods. And, I do intermittent fasting, overnight. I try to do 13 hours minimum, but, that's really, I wouldn't try to do more than that. I think that's how I feel like, I remain healthy and do well. And so I don't think that I would recommend anything additionally than just what you would do every day to keep yourself healthy.
Also, I think people have to realize that they may not be able to eat that A+ diet right now, depending on where they live and the availability. Because we're having trouble getting organic vegetables. We're not, for a while there were no vegetables at the store at all for a few days, and all the frozen was gone and the fresh was gone. And then a couple of days later they restocked, but it was low. And so I'm not seeing the kind of organic that I'm used to. Not organic. I'm still going to eat it. You know what I mean? And just,
Yeah. And that's difficult because if it's not available, that makes it rough. So, going back to just the really basic meals of, what you can find that's satisfying and, can get you the, most bang for the buck. So back to those starches.
Yep, it's still better to eat conventional produce than organic animal products or processed food, if you ask me. So,
Absolutely.
and if you have to eat a little bit more starch than you're used to because you can't get the vegetables, you're not going to die and you're not going to gain
Nope.
weight. So do not worry about that. Well,
Yep.
we have Susan right from the TrueNorth Health Center watching. She says she's on day 4 of her 12-day water fast. Well, good luck with that. Wendy asks if the corona symptoms vary from light to severe. You haven't seen any patients with that, right? Not yet.
Nope, not yet, but I'm sure I will once I get back to Montana. But just from what I've been hearing, it sounds like that, yeah, some people are asymptomatic and some people have really mild symptoms and then it goes up to severe. So just the whole gamut.
Is there any point, I mean, I know they're opening these testing sites, but is there really any point in testing if you're asymptomatic? Because doesn't that take a test away from somebody who really needs it?
I think that if it were up to me, I think it makes sense to test people who have symptoms, but also to test people who are asymptomatic that might have come into close contact with somebody, because you just never know, with the incubation period, and if you could have it just not have symptoms yet. So I know that all the different states have different protocol for when they recommend that you test and when not, but
yeah, it's just interesting watching. I don't know how I got this on my phone because I don't remember signing up for it, but I get these updates and maybe they just sent it to everybody. I don't know about like the different states. And it's just very interesting to me geographically how so many states, how it's different. So many, like New York has so many more deaths, than many other states. And that even though California is a big state with lots of cases, it has relatively fewer deaths. And it's fascinating to me how that's playing out in the different parts of the country and the world, like,
yeah, I mean, it just feels like we don't quite know exactly how this thing is going to play out. And, so that's why I like that we're talking about, nutrition and potatoes and, all the good stuff and the things that we enjoy. And, I think for me, I know all of us are having a hard time kind of getting your mind away from it because it's all most people are talking about, but it is nice to have moments when you're putting that aside and, focusing on other things like hanging out with your dog and your family and going on bike rides.
That's why I've been doing these lives just to get people, I maybe I'll do some cooking ones just to get people, their mind off it. Because I think the worst thing to do is to watch the news. I honestly have never watched the news in my life. I am proud to say I have never watched that. I've never watched the Super Bowl either, to be honest, but I've literally never watched television news a day in my life. And today I am 60 years old because I think all that does is add to your stress, your anxiety, your depression. That doesn't mean I don't know the news because guess what? If something happens, somebody's going to tell you.
Yeah. Yep. I totally agree. I try not to watch the news because it's the same thing. You could be having a really nice day and then all of a sudden it just brings you down. And why do that to yourself? It's not worth it.
Even like the little teasers. I don't even watch TV anymore, but I used to hate those little teasers they would do, like man throws puppy over overhead. It's like, well, I don't want to know that because I don't want to know bad news. And it seems that's all there is. So, Meredith asked, when you do your 10-day retreats, will it include fasting?
So right now, I don't think so. I think it'll be more kind of like Dr. McDougall, the way he does his. So it's just, food coming in and eating healthy food and hopefully getting people off medications or decreasing medications while you're there and then teaching you how to do it once you leave.
Nice.
However, I am open to the idea of down the road, the possibility of doing something like that, very short fasts for people, in one location.
Yeah, I think that would be harder, medically, because there's more can go wrong,
Exactly. It's, and that's, with the TrueNorth. Yeah. You've got doctors here 24/7 and, most of the staff live, right around the corner from the facility. So that, we have to be really on top of it. So
Yeah.
definitely more medically challenging.
Yeah, I feel so, it's really such a noble profession in general to be a doctor, but right now it's like, it's just, boy, my heart goes out to doctors right now. It's sort of like the firemen with 9/11 and the policemen. You guys are like the first, it's like you guys just can't go on vacation, right? Well, actually nobody can go on vacation right now,
Right.
but some doctors are on kind of forced leave depending on their specialty, but it's just being in healthcare right now. It's got to be really challenging, I would imagine.
Yeah. Yep. And it'll be interesting when I get back home, because I'm going to be, going right into the clinics and right into the hospitals and seeing it firsthand. So I'll have to let you know how it's going once I get back there.
Yeah. Well, I do have some masks and I feel guilty. And the reason I have masks is because I volunteer not right now, you can't volunteer, but I volunteer at a hospital and I refuse to get the flu shot. And the only way they let you volunteer is if you wear a mask. And they always gave masks for free, but I always felt like with masks, patients couldn't see you. So I bought this very expensive kind of mask where there's a circle right here. It's covered, but it's so that way the patient, you could smile and talk to them,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like a friendly mask, so to speak. And I've got 40 of them, and I'm wondering, should I maybe be giving them to the people that need them? But then, what if I need them?
Right.
Oh my God. Yeah, elective surgeries being delayed. Yeah, I thought there was going to be nothing but only, emergency surgeries right now is what I heard, at least here. So Roz said earlier, someone posted thoughts on diet to combat increased thyroid antibodies, what to eat or to avoid.
What to eat if you have increased thyroid antibodies?
Yeah, increased thyroid antibodies. Is there something special you should eat or something special you should avoid?
Yeah, there's nothing that I know of specifically. No.
The only thing I know, I've heard Dr. Goldhammer say not to have gluten if you have Hashimoto's thyroiditis.
Yeah.
Or maybe that he felt there was a link to Hashimoto's thyroiditis from gluten. I don't remember exactly what he said, but I remember him saying something.
Yeah, I'll have to look at that.
Because people always worry, like, I always hear like, well, they're on blood thinners, so they can't eat greens. Like you've heard that, right?
Right.
But so then shouldn't they change their medicine instead of changing their diet?
They can, yeah. So, a lot of people think that you can't have greens because of the vitamin K and how it can affect the blood thinner. But in fact, you just need to, as long as your diet doesn't change too much. So you just shouldn't be not eating greens for 2 weeks and then eating greens every day for 2 weeks, because then that will change the way that your medicine works. But if you work with your doctor and say, this is how much I'm going to eat with the greens every day, and as long as that stays pretty stable, then you can figure out what the dose needs to be to adjust to that.
Right. Yeah. Are you at the point yet, or are you too new to get frustrated when people won't change their diet when you suggest to them to change their diet?
Probably too new. So, what I do is every time I have a patient come in, I at least either talk to them about changing their diet, regardless of why they're coming in to see me, or I give them a handout regarding diet. And that way I've at least done something, so that when they walk out, they've got something from me. And it's just, even if they don't make a change, or maybe it's something that sparks something so that 5 years later they make a change. I learned early on that sometimes, if I didn't think somebody would be someone who would necessarily make a change, and then I would have somebody who I didn't think would, but then they do it and they're all in. I just, you just never know who's going to be the one who's going to be willing to make the change and who's not. So I just, I take everybody and I give everybody all the, a little bit of information. Of course, people who I have more time with and who are wanting to, like I had a patient who has diabetes and her A1C was high enough that she normally would be prescribed insulin. But she was willing to make a diet change with me. And so she did that and her A1C came down and it's almost normal now, just with diet changes, and had she seen another doctor, she probably would be on insulin right now. So you just never know who's going to make that change. So I try to still share it with everybody. So
That's great.
hopefully with what I'm doing, whereas I'm going to be hopefully working with people who are ready to make the change, I won't get to that frustrated part.
That's true. Yeah, because that has to be frustrating, like especially in the case of smoking. Like, do you find that many people still smoke, or is it just the people that smoked before and they still haven't quit? Like, are we getting more and more new smokers? Or I know vaping is really popular now, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, unfortunately, I still have a lot of patients that smoke. So,
Well, can't you tell them if you don't stop smoking, I can't see you?
right. But then who sees them, right?
Well,
Yeah.
the doctors that still smoke, I mean, if there are any. You want to hear something
Yeah.
funny? In my 20s, I was a respiratory therapist, and the head of pulmonary actually smoked.
Wow.
This was 1982, though. I don't know if that would be today the case.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I had a lecture in medical school regarding obesity, and the person who gave the lecture definitely was not of a normal BMI.
Wow. They say
So,
you teach what you most need to learn,
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Marina says, what is the best food for healing ulcers or gastritis, and what to avoid?
Well, that's a pretty general question, because ulcers and gastritis can be caused by a lot of different things. Alcohol use, NSAID use, like anti-inflammatories like ibuprofen. There's a bacteria called H. pylori that can cause ulcers. So it's really dependent on your specific medical situation, and how to go about helping with that.
There are actually 2 plant-based doctors that are GI specialists, and they were doing consults before, but now especially they're doing telemedicine. There's Angie Sadeghi, and I cannot say this gentleman's name, but Dr. Will B, because it's like Buczw. It's really hard to pronounce, but he's known as the plant-based GI doc. So maybe she'd like to see one of them if she wants to have a consult to get more information.
I love that there's so much more telemedicine out there right now, because then it does give people access to plant-based doctors if they live in a rural community or somewhere where they don't have anybody that they can go to. So I think that's great.
Yeah, isn't that good? And so many of the doctors at TrueNorth do that anyway.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Robin says, does it matter what time of day eating potatoes is best for weight loss? The time of day that you're hungry. And not eating any extra added fat on it, I think would be helpful.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, I love
I don't know if
potatoes.
I mean, maybe not eating them at 3 a.m. if you're, waking up and eating a potato and going back to sleep. But when you're awake and hungry, yeah, I think potatoes
That's
anytime.
funny. That's what we're having for dinner tonight. Is while you were talking, I texted my husband to turn on the air fryer. We've got we just love making fries in the air fryer, or just cutting the potatoes in half and cooking them, and then I'll be putting on my California balsamic hickory vinegar with my little tomato paste mixture, and having a big chopped salad with it. So I just love eating the simple foods over and over again. They're so delicious to me.
Yeah, we love making fries in our air fryer too. That's one of my favorite things.
It's so fun. There's a restaurant I think it's in Sebastopol, and that is the first time I ever had air fries. I can't think of the name, but do you know what I'm talking about? Because you said you went bike riding there.
I know, but everything's closed. So I mean, I just kind of went there and
true.
turned around, but
I can't think of the name now, but they have a big commercial air fryer that's like several $1,000s, but they do make air fries there. I want to say it's called like Slice of Life or something like that.
Is it a vegan restaurant?
I think it might be vegetarian. You keep talking.
Because I did hear about a vegan restaurant near, I guess there's a Whole Foods in Sebastopol, that it was near there. So I don't know if that's the same one or not.
I always get Petaluma and Sebastopol mixed up. Let me see. Vegan, but it was very good. Vegan restaurant, Petaluma.
So did they use potatoes or sweet potatoes?
Yeah, they used potatoes. No, might be. I don't know. Well, Susan Condon is on here. She's a restaurant foodie. She should know the name of the restaurant. So Robin says she's transitioning from weigh and measuring program. Well, that's tough, because this is the exact opposite.
Yep.
Eating in accordance with calorie density. we don't weigh and measure anything. We just eat nutrient dense, calorically dilute food, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes. So you don't have to weigh and measure, because when you're cutting out the oils and the flours and the sugars and all the calorically dense foods like cheese and animal products, you get to eat a lot of food.
Yep. And it's so much more sustainable when you don't have to worry about calories. I mean, I don't even think about that, you know. I just know what I eat, and I eat that, and I eat when I'm hungry, and I stop when I'm full, and it's amazing. You know, I really do feel bad for people who are doing calorie counting and weighing portion, and, you know, trying to portion their plate specifically and things like that. It just is too much work. You know, I just don't have the
I
time
don't
for
think
all
it's
that.
sustainable long term. I think people can do
No,
it for a very short term, but I don't think you can do it long term.
no, definitely not.
And there's no need to do it, and there's no proof that it's even that it even works. So at least not long term. You know,
Yep, I agree.
I googled the name of the restaurant. It's called Slice of Life.
Oh, yeah. So you had it right.
Yeah, yeah. So it's very good. Judy says she weighed and measured for years and years, but she's been on the ultimate weight loss for 18 months now, and it's the best. Yeah, and you don't have to weigh and measure. If anything, you got to weigh to make sure you're having enough food, because so the biggest mistake I see is people don't eat enough because they're so afraid to eat the
Yeah.
starch. They just eat, you know, salads, which are great, and maybe fruit, and then they don't have enough calories to do their daily life, because they're so afraid to eat the more calorically dense starches, which really, in fact, are calorically dilute.
Yeah, you got to really change, you know, what you understand about food. And, you know, you're just so used to having smaller portions, and, you know, you just got to, because you're being fooled, you know, with the oil, you know, your body's being fooled. And so you're taking in so many more calories, you know, with such small volume.
Yeah, people
So,
don't realize the oil is such a culprit, and that's why people that really insist on eating at restaurants a lot, they can't get away from it, because you
yeah.
can't detect any satiety from oil, and it's the most calorically dense food on the planet, 4,000 calories a pound. There's a doctor named Wes Youngberg that calls oil hypercaloric malnutrition. I love that.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
The whole
because it doesn't
phrase.
have any nutritional value.
Right. It just has calories without nutrition. It's worse than sugar. Everybody's so afraid of sugar, but sugar is actually only 1,800 calories a pound. Oil's more than 2 times as calorically dense as sugar. That's what we have to be afraid of.
I
Now, let's
know.
see. Karen says she was always hungry on those programs. Oh, we have a question on hemorrhoids. I think the words hemorrhoid and diarrhea are two of the hardest words to spell.
Yes, they are.
I just never know if the H goes before I mean, you know, I just cannot. If I was on
You
a
know,
spelling bee.
and I've had to write those words several times now, and being in medical school and residency, and still I'm not quite sure if I did it
Those
right.
words are so hard. So Louise says, my sister just started eating whole food plant-based, and she said that eating all the veggies caused her to have a hemorrhoid flare-up. Any suggestions and advice?
Oh, well, you know, with hemorrhoids, it's something that you can never completely get rid of, but you can, you know, definitely make it better. You definitely don't want to be straining when you're having a bowel movement. And, you know, a lot of people, I'll tell you, can try like a sitz bath. You just put a couple of inches of water in the bathtub. I would say the main thing is just don't strain, you know, and that's what, you know, having a good high fiber diet is going to help with that.
Right. It's funny because the plant-based diet always gets blamed. The hemorrhoids didn't occur in a plant-based diet. The constipation occurred because the person wasn't eating fiber. They were eating animal products, which have no fiber. And then they go to eat plants, and now they finally can poop easily. And then, you know, it always gets
Yeah.
blamed when the E. coli in the spinach, but it's from the animals. So, you
Right.
know.
Exactly. Yep.
That's funny. You know, it's so funny because I moved to this senior community, and I've got these lights on, and the neighbors are always looking in. At first they thought I was like doing porn or something, because they couldn't figure out why at night they're always looking in the window. It's just so funny. It's
And so they're
so
waving
funny.
at you as they walk by.
No, they kind of like looking in, like, what the heck is she doing? Um, so Robin says, what do you use on the bottom of the air fryer so potatoes so they don't stick? My potatoes don't stick. So one of the things I do is like tonight we're not having true fries. We have that little machine. Sometimes we make them like fries, but a lot of times I'll just cut them in half. They're not very big, the potatoes. And so if I air fry them with the skin side down, it just doesn't stick. It only possibly sticks if it's the cut side,
Yeah, and I've got, it's the Breville that has an air fryer in it, and we do parchment paper if
Oh.
if it gets sticky.
Oh, I've never used it. And I just clean the trays. So
Yeah,
Susan's telling someone that they can come into TrueNorth for a day pass if they want. So that's something they could call the front desk about.
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Although I would say I don't think that they're doing those right now.
Yep.
Just to help with not bringing a lot of people in from the community.
Yep. Oh, here's another controversial question in the plant-based world from Randy. Any suggestions on B12? I've tried both methylcobalamin and cyanocobalamin. I mean, some doctors say one is better, some say the other is better.
Yeah, I don't know that, and I don't even remember which one I do. I think it's the methylcobalamin, but I think the main thing is that you're getting some. You don't need a lot. I think mine is 500 micrograms if I remember right, and I take it when I remember, and it's really once every few weeks. Your body's really efficient at storing it, and it takes a long time for you to get depleted. In fact, Dr. Goldhammer was telling a story about how he did his own experiment with himself. I think he stopped eating animal products early on when he was about 16 or so. And he checked his B12 regularly to see when he would start getting depleted. And he said it took about 30 years before he depleted. So I don't know that either or is really, incredibly better than another.
Yep. I just take the brand they sell at TrueNorth. It's called Pure Encapsulations.
Oh yeah. Do you do the liquid or is it a tablet?
I do the capsule, and I personally take it every day because I'm one of those people that won't remember what day I took it. And since it's not a fat soluble vitamin, I don't think it much matters. My husband prefers the 5,000 international unit drops, or 5,000 whatever it is drops,
Yeah.
and that's what he likes. So, but you're right, just to make sure they take it. Now, Randy's saying she thinks she breaks out when taking B12. Maybe it's the brand, because sometimes there's fillers and things like
Yeah.
that in vitamins.
Yeah. So trying a different brand for sure.
Yeah, Nikki says, I wanted to make the everything bagels, but couldn't find Yukon Golds. So you could get what's called, there are other potatoes that are Yukon Gold, like golden potatoes. The reason I use Yukon Golds is because they're more buttery and softer. Russets are a little bit drier. And also because of the shape, Yukon Golds are round, so you can make them look a lot more like a bagel, because I've never actually seen a round russet. But see if you can find a gold potato, or I think it's called a rose or a yellow potato. But we're looking for something that's kind of a round shape that looks like a bagel. But I find the Yukon Golds just are a little bit creamier for this recipe. I make bagels in the air fryer, but they're made out of potatoes.
I would love to try that.
I'll send you the recipe. I just put it up to, it was last week's recipe. It's very good. I could fool some people. I'll send you it when we get off. So guys, any questions? Because it's my birthday and I got to have my fries.
Yeah.
Fry. It's so funny because I don't have to have anything special for my birthday, because every day is special when you get to eat all the potatoes you want. It's like oh, that's hilarious.
So
Yeah,
let's see. So what's your horoscope?
I'm an Aries, a double Aries. So I want to be a Libra. I mean, that's what I wanted to be, but I didn't have a choice. What sign are you?
Well, I'm a Pisces, so I just had my birthday just the end of February.
Oh, were you already a TrueNorth then?
Nope. It was just before I got here.
That's what Dr. Lim is. Pisces are very sweet. They're very kind.
And we love the water.
Ah, and yet you live somewhere where there's no water, literally.
Right. But, I used to be a river guide on the Snake River in Jackson Hole.
That's cool. That's where the rich people live. That's where you should have your retreat. I had a cousin that lived there. He was very wealthy, and so that would be a good place for a retreat.
I would love that. I love Jackson Hole area near Grand Teton, and it's just beautiful there.
That's neat. Jillian says she's a Libra. My dog Bailey's a Libra. Some days she comes on. So the thing is that there's potatoes in the air fryer. So it's my dog. Did your dog like potatoes too? Bailey loves to eat potatoes.
Yep. Yeah, he loves that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And the only problem with, I don't know if your dog does this, Bailey hides food in the house. And then we'll be in bed and then there'll be like a French fry or something. And, we try to
really?
just, it's cute, but not really, Let's see. According to Native American astrology, the sign of Pisces is a wolf. But I'm also a rat. I'm a rat in Chinese astrology. I don't like being a rat. Let's see.
I think my mom's a rat.
Yeah. 1960 a rat. So Martha says, do you drink pot liquor a lot? Yeah, I drink it every day. So that's my morning beverage. So I make my husband steamed greens every morning and I put in more water than I need to so that it leaves me about, 2.5 cups. And he says I'm stealing all his nutrients because some of the nutrients probably do go in the pot liquor, but it's really good. And it's kind of salty too. So it's very nice. Judy says she's indecisive. Thank you for sharing your birthday, wishing you the best. Well, thank you guys for your very nice wishes. And maybe Niki will be a regular feature. Maybe I'll just teach Niki how to do this or excuse me, Dr. Davis, and then she could just come on every day. And so guys, make sure, now, do you have a mailing list yet that people can sign up for?
Yeah, if you just go to my website, so it's Dr. Dr. Niki, Niki Davis, DAVIS.com. You can go on there and you can sign up.
Nice, because a couple of people typed it in. For some reason, my chat's not working. I mean, it's working as far as I can see people, but I can't type. So yeah, here, we'll read the best comment of the day from Wendy Kennedy. My son said she's 60, she looks 45. This kid is going to go far in life. Right there. That's the way, flattery will get you everywhere, So Dr. Goldhammer was supposed to do this on Wednesday, but because of the situation at TrueNorth being he asked if he could postpone until April. So
gotcha.
Yeah, so that's okay. But we get Dr. Lyle up a lot, so that I'm sure he's going to pop in this week. So thank you so much, and thank you guys for watching again. Last night was just sort of a dress rehearsal. So get on Dr. Davis's mailing list if you know anybody in either Montana or Salt Lake City. Tell them about her. And okay, last question, Amber. How much B12 for kids?
Well, that's funny because when I worked with Dr. McDougall, when I was in medical school, I asked him the same question. And he said, well, does your kid play in the dirt? And I said, yeah, he does. And he says, well, he gets plenty of B12. So, if you know the source where B12 comes from, it's created by bacteria. And, it's something that we used to get on our fruits and veggies before we sterilized them a lot. So with kids, I would say as they get a little bit older, you could start introducing it. My 7-year-old, I do give him the 500 micrograms, but he probably only gets it once a month. So it doesn't need to be a lot.
Nice. Well, thanks for raising healthy kids and showing parents that it can be done. As long as you don't give them crap, they will eat potatoes and tofu and broccoli.
Yeah.
Got to catch them early. All right.
Yes.
Well, good night, everyone. Thank you. Well, I'm sure I'll be back tomorrow with actually somebody else from TrueNorth, Ramses Bravo, at 9 a.m.
Oh, wonderful.
And I think at 5 o'clock, I'm just doing this a lot just to give people, like you say, some distraction so they don't just sit there and watch the news and worry. And I think I'm going to do another chef named Dell in the evening because this is actually really fun for me. So everybody's saying thank you. So guys, head on over to DrNikiDavis. Sign up for her mailing list so that you know when those 10-day programs come out. And if you can't make it, at least you can refer your friends because this is the doctor of the future. As Thomas Edison said, the doctor that will give no medicine. And that's amazing. So, all right. Well, take care,
thank you,
everybody.
Chef AJ, and
Well,
happy
thank
birthday.
you. So,
Thanks for spending some of your birthday with me.
Yeah, well, thank you. It took 2 years to get you, but then we did 2 in a row. So I am going to contact you offline to get your address for those vinegars and get you that bagel recipe. But I am first going to eat my dinner and let you eat your dinner too.
Sounds great. Enjoy your night.
Good night, everybody. See you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.